So it's the new main event for the April 27th card. It's two heavyweight kickboxers, Ciryl Gane versus Jairzinho Rozenstruik. Should be, fairly entertaining, keep you on the edge of your seat the whole time type fight. So Gane, he's done pretty well in the UFC so far. He's 4-0. He's coming in with a 5-inch reach advantage. I think Biggie Boy's reach might be a little bit longer. Or Gane's is a little bit shorter. I think Gane's might be 81. But anyway, Gane's got a very long reach. That's the main part. So yeah. So Biggie Boy, he trains at ATT now, which is very good because his grappling before the UFC was terrible. So he's likely working on that at ATT. The coaches, they probably broke down his game, realized where his faults are, and they're probably working on that really hard now, which it's good. I like that move to ATT. Alright, so we'll break down this one. We'll get into the striking of these two. Alrighty, so Jairzinho on the feet, he's very offensively minded. He tends to favor offense over defense, in my opinion, just by looking at his fights. But yeah, his offense really nice. His combinations are fluid. His hands are really nice. His kicks, his inside leg kicks, his body kicks, his high kicks, really nice. For Ciryl Gane, he's an 8-point striker. He'll use any limb to hurt you with. He's able to fight in either stance, so he's obviously a very educated and a very experienced kickboxer. He's very comfortable in the stand-up. Mostly, he's got nice hands, but he generally just uses his boxing for counters. Yeah. The only boxing punch that he really throws just in the open would be just his jab. He's got that stiff jab, that long reach that he has. He's got a very nice jab. Also, this is a counter again, so the counter uppercut if his opponent's dipping, but generally he has good head movement in the pocket. He's good vision, so he doesn't get caught too much in the pocket. But it's definitely something that's on the cards here with Rozenstruik. So Rozenstruik, his best punch is definitely that check left hook when his opponent closes distance. It's definitely a double-edged sword because he'll go to it pretty much every time. And when he's throwing that check left hook, his chin's in the air. And he generally does lean back with his chin in the air to avoid right overhands, right straights, which could get him in trouble with this one, especially against a guy with a long reach like Gane. Alright. And also, Gane, he has this tendency to clinch up when he's pressured. So that won't be an issue in this one, in my opinion, just because Rozenstruik probably won't even want to clinch up because he's striking because his grappling is so bad. But in general, it's something that, more skilled heavyweights, more well-rounded heavyweights can take advantage of. But also, a few weapons of Ciryl Gane. He has a nice body kick when he's in southpaw. As I said before, he switches stance quite frequently. Also that left rip to the body. But that's something definitely Rozenstruik will be looking to land that check left hook on. So he's just got to be careful looking at that. But in general, I do believe Gane has more weapons on the feet. Both have a kickboxing background, but I believe Gane's a little more, he's got a few more weapons in the back pocket. So in the grappling in this one, we'll break down Rozenstruik. So this is just from tape. I don't know if he's made any improvements recently, but this is just what I have to go off. So in general, he uses brute force to get off bottom instead of proper technique. He's a very strong big dude, but that's not going to work against a lot of these top 10 heavyweights in the UFC. But also it's really easy to pass his guard, can just sweep the legs really easily, get inside control, and then from there you can just go into mount. What the fuck was that? Okay, don't worry about that. So Gane has a nice reactive double leg that he'll shoot under a right overhand. He's done that quite frequently in the UFC. So that's something, definitely he'll be looking at in this fight because Biggie Boy can get a little over aggressive when he does come forward. He tends to be fairly aggressive, Biggie Boy. So, he is is susceptible to that reactive double. Something, Junior Dos Santos, if he had a wrestling background, he definitely would have been able to employ that against Biggie Boy when he was advancing forward. Alright, so how these guys win their fights. So for Rozenstruik, he has that touch of death power, especially on that check left hook, but just in general his hands, very powerful, very lethal. For Ciryl Gane, he has some really good strike and defense. He's faced low level competition, but in my opinion it's looked very good and it's looked very sharp, and it seems like he could do that against the guys in the upper rankings. So yeah, it's definitely better suited for the bigger octagon, the type of defense that he employs, because he's got good movement, he uses that footwork to get around, he has good range management, likes to keep, an appropriate range that he likes to set early in fights. But yeah, I think this one's going to be in the apex, so he won't be able, it'll be the small octagon, but I believe it won't be too much of an issue. Also, his good pacing, good cardio. I think the change to 5 rounds from the 3 round that was scheduled won't be an issue for him, in my opinion. Alright, so how these guys lose. Also another thing for Ciryl Gane, I like that he's working towards a well-rounded game, because there's a lot of heavyweights that, are just specialists in one or the other. So I really like that he's working towards, a game that covers all aspects. So yeah, how these guys lose their fights. Start with Biggie Boy. So he's got really bad takedown defense. He's got really bad get-ups. So something I think, hopefully, that Gane noticed on tape, and he definitely looks to exploit that in this fight. For Ciryl Gane, he's fairly green, so yeah, a lot of his game hasn't been unearthed yet. So we'll see how it holds up in this one. But his lead leg is kind of pronounced. He rarely checks leg kicks. He kind of turns away from them. And Biggie Boy does have some good leg kicks in his arsenal. So, I'd like to see him do that. So we'll get into the path to victory now. And yeah, for Rozenstruik, those leg kicks, left hook when he's in southpaw, and Gane is throwing a straight right to the body. So if Gane's going to be throwing any offense to the body, look to land that, check left hook on him. But, Gane could also make the read, start going body head, and then your head's kind of leaning back. So just be careful. Don't go to the well too many times, but in general, yeah. But also, control pressure. Don't get too overly aggressive, but just, kind of stalk him, start landing some boxing combinations, some leg kicks, and just look to up the volume. But in general, I think Rozenstruik has the power advantage in this fight, in my opinion. So for Gane, I'd like to see him mix in his grappling in this one, definitely. So make him realize that takedown threat early, so he's, constantly thinking about it. But, in general, just look to get the fight to the ground. It's probably your path of least resistance, so look for control on the mat. Look for, when he's going to turn to give his back, look to take the back there. But also on the feet, look for that body, that head kick, when, you're in southpaw and it opens up. But also, go for a leg kick, because in general, Rozenstruik, with that kickboxing background, looks to return the leg kick immediately. So if he's going to get a little too predictable with that, shoot a blast double over that and just mix things up. But yeah, in general, how I see the fight going, Gane has the advantage on the mat for sure, path of least resistance, but on the feet, I think it's closer. I think Gane edges it just with variety and just the length, but also, yeah, very even on the feet. But yeah, also I think Gane will be taking the front foot. Biggie Boy generally takes the back foot and likes to counterpunch from there. So yeah, although I think, if the whole fight's on the feet, it'll be very competitive and close, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think Gane's going to take him down and, look to test that ground game. So my prediction is Gane. I think he gets it done on the mat. I think he either clubs and subs him or just TKOs him on the ground. So yeah, I think the money line's about correct. I think it's 70-30. So yeah, it's a bit lower for Gane than I expected, but I think, yeah, it's about right. So if Gane got up to $1.50, maybe I'd play that, but in general, I don't really want to play Rozenstruik. I think he's, knockout or bust.